Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is Michaela Rose of Gift from Neptune. I was gonna set up my camera, but I just figured why not just hop on live, because even though it's the middle of the night and I know people probably are not up, um, this will stay on my page anyway, right? So it's just less pressure for me to just hop my ass on live. And if y'all join, y'all join. If not, y'all can catch the replay. So anyway, I wanted to talk about Mercury in Capricorn, because Mercury has officially finally left Sagittarius. It was in Sagittarius for so freaking long because it went retrograde and all of that. So it finally, after 20 million years, has left the sign of Sagittarius and it has entered Capricorn, and it will stay in Capricorn from January 8th to January 27th. So this transit is all about being grounded, having structure, taking real practical steps towards your goals. A lot of you guys probably feel a shift in your energy. So this might be why, because Mercury is one of those planets that deals with our thoughts and our routines. So, let's get into it. Let's get into Mercury first. I want to make sure you guys kind of, if you don't know astrology enough, I want you guys to kind of understand Mercury and what Mercury is, or how Mercury acts, right? So, when it comes to Mercury, oh my gosh, somebody's here. Hey, when it comes to Mercury, Mercury is the planet of communication, of thought, of movement. It is the messenger of the cosmos, right? It's the closest to the sun. So if we think of the sun as like our heart's desires, Mercury is able to communicate your heart's desires. It's able to take those untangible things and articulate them, turn them into words, turn them into knowledge, and not only turn them into communication, but also turn them into like practical wisdom, and turn them into action, and turn them into like rituals, routines, right? Because that's what Mercury rules. Mercury rules rituals and routines, right? It rules Virgo. It rules Gemini and Virgo. So it rules not only thoughts and chatter, conversations, intelligence, but it rules like walking and those small movements, and it rules the hands and things that we do, like the tiny steps that we do to bring those thoughts into fruition, right? And so when we think of, I have my giant Rider-Waite deck right here. And so when you think of Mercury, I am a Mercury in Pisces, so I like to have a visual for everything, right? Um, so I like to think of the tarot. I'm always going to cross-reference my tools. That's like something that I stand by, and I think everyone should do it, because once you learn multiple tools, you kind of see how they like relate to each other. So the tarot card that is ruled by Mercury is the Magician, right? And when you see the Magician here, right, he has this like scepter, this wand that's up towards the air, up towards the sky, but he also has his hand towards the ground. So he's literally channeling this energy from spirit in order to bring it to reality. And that's what Mercury does, right? Like I said, it takes those things that aren't able to be articulated and finds a way to articulate them, whether that be with communication or movement. Now this is the ultimate card of manifestation. Like, this card shows us, it reminds us, when we see the Magician card in the tarot, it reminds us that we have everything that we need to succeed. All manifestations start as thought, right? And this is how we project them into reality. So this is like turning thoughts into actions, right? Mercury is an androgynous planet. And so even though this is a masculine card, I want you to think of this as like androgynous, because he's using all of the elements. And Mercury being an androgynous planet, he can kind of move. I'm using he pronouns, but they really can kind of move in both realms, right? He can move passive, active. He can move feminine, masculine. He can move light, dark, right? So when we think about energy at its core, it's not really good or bad. It's like, it just kind of is what it is. How can we use the energy that we have available to us, the tools that we have available to us, to kind of project this thought into reality, right? So Mercury understands that. Mercury channels that, the spirit-led communication into a ritual, an action, a movement, right? The reality itself exists, so he's just funneling it down into reality, right? And so when we think about like the sign of Capricorn, right? So we're placing Mercury into the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by the Devil card. And the Devil card always reminds me of like the earthly realm, survival. Hey T, I'm glad you're up. I'm glad you're here. The Devil card always reminds me of like survival. Um, it's Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, right? So Saturn is like limitations and weight and fear and restrictions, but it's also like mastery and things that we are bound to, right? And so when I think of the Devil card, I think of like, what are we bound to? You know what I mean? Like if you look at the Devil card, they are chained, but they're not chained to anything, right? And so when it comes to Capricorn, it's like we are when it comes to Capricorn, it's like, yes, we do feel the weight of the world. And if you talk to Capricorns, a lot of them do feel like this heavy weight of the world kind of thing. Capricorn rules status, Capricorn rules, once again, mastery status, public consumption, like how you're perceived in the public eye, your reputation. And so that could be what you are bound to. So if we think of Mercury and Capricorn, right? When you take the magician and you place him in the realm of the devil, it's like, okay, what are we about to do with this energy here? What are we bounding ourselves to? What are we allowing ourselves to believe when it comes to how we can manifest and things into reality? You feel me? And so it's just like, okay, wow, what does that teach us about Mercury? Like, what am I choosing to believe? You know, this is Mercury and Capricorn. What am I choosing to believe? What am I choosing to root myself in? Is the spirit led? What does success look like? What am I willing to do to get there? Because, like I said, energy isn't good or bad, it's what we do with it. And so you can do things out of survival. Sorry, the way this is flipped is throwing me off. You can do things out of survival, and out of like worldly desires, worldly devotion, material success, or like false idols in a sense, which the Devil card. What's a false idol? A false idol is money, greed, jewels, diamonds, material things, right? So are we rooting our thoughts in material, or are we rooting it in um the bounds that we are limited to, right? And so with Mercury and Capricorn, this feels like just a questioning. What are we building? Is it worth my time? What am I afraid of? Because fear is also a comfort zone, right? And so your comfort zone could be this devil, right? These bounds and these limitations that you have imposed on yourself, right? And so where are you holding back? Where are you what are you committing yourself to? Are you committing yourself to this divine mission and to this divine um like this message that you've gotten from spirit, right? So let's say that God has placed something in your heart, you know, and God has placed something on your heart and you're like, well, I can't make that happen. I want this to happen, but I can't make that happen. Who told you that? Saturn is in Pisces right now. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And so Saturn is the ruler of this Mercury, right? Finally. It's not ruled by that debilitated retrograde Jupiter no more. It's ruled by Saturn now. So it's like now you're aware of your limitations. Mercury in Sagittarius was like, oh, I want all the things. I want things to play out this way. I want things to show up this way. I want things to, you just have all these ideas, these big ideas that you may not necessarily know how to implement them. And then it gets into Capricorn and it's like, okay, I know what I want to do, but can I do that? Is that a thing? And then like all this fear and this doubt starts to set in and you have to like balance what your spirit told you and what you think can happen. And so the reason I bring up Saturn in Pisces is because Saturn in Pisces is dissolving bounds. It's redefining what is possible. And it's making you ask yourself, okay, so let's take away your foundation because that's what Pisces does, right? It's the void. Let's take away your foundation. what's left? What are you willing to, like, what can you create now out of this void that is left? And so that's what Mercury and Capricorn is having you ask, like, is this worth my time? Is this fear something that I have, is this fear something that's real, or is this something that I am choosing to believe? Was this fear ingrained in me by someone else? Who told me that this wasn't possible? That is what we are now processing now with at the beginning stages of Mercury and Capricorn, so that when Mercury continues its trek through Capricorn, it kind of finalizes it, and it's like, okay, I know how I can make this possible. I can group up with other people to bring this to fruition, which brings me to the actual Mercury and Capricorn card. The Three of Pentacles is literally the Mercury and Capricorn card, which is collaboration, right? And the way that Three of Pentacles is described is combining efforts with others to create something solid and worthwhile, right? And so this is the second decan of Capricorn, though. This is like the middle. This is when things start to click. So let's say like 10 to 20, like 15 degrees. That's when it's at its peak, right? When you're like, okay, I'm getting it. I've learned how to balance these limitations and this spirit-led message with what I believe to be true. Now I can ask for help. I can collaborate with other people, you know. Um, and then it moves into the Four of Pentacles, which finalizes its journey through Capricorn, where it's like, okay, I think I'm rooted in this new belief system, right? Yes, everybody always thinks the devil card is scary, but what this really is like it's really just survival, and what are you binding yourself to? Because the devil, he's just here. Like, he's here questioning your faith. He's not trying to keep you there, you know? It's just like, are you are you are you binding yourself, or are you attaching yourself to things that aren't true? I love the devil card. When I see it, I'm just like, "Oh, what do you believe? What do you believe?" Like, that's always the question that comes up. What is it that you believe to be true? Because there's something in your belief system that's making you feel like this is the only option for you, and it's not, right? But okay, so what I really wanted to get into with this transit. So for one, here's what I want you guys to remember when it comes to this transit. Continue to question everything that you believe to be true. Like I said, like when you think of these goals you're trying to obtain, do you believe it's possible? When you ask yourself if you believe it's possible, excuse me, look at your body's reactions. What comes up? What doubts come up? What fear comes up? Think about things like that. Stare the doubt at it in its face and just be like, okay, who told me that? I can redefine my foundation. I can redefine my own bounds and my limits. What do I need right now to make myself know that everything's going to work out for me? Like, what do I need right now to redefine those limiting beliefs? Sometimes, like, for example, right, I go through these periods where I'm like, bro, do magic work? Like, is magic real? And so, like, is my magic working? I go through those periods, and I'll ask myself, what do you need to remind yourself that magic is real? And I'll remind myself of all of the times that magic has worked. That's why I keep a journal, right? I keep my own personal rule book, which is very Saturnian to me, right? This regimen, these rituals that I am committing myself to, right? This contract with spirit that I'm committing myself to. So as long as you keep this commitment with spirit, your magic works. So anyway, I say that to say, just ask yourself, what is it that you need to believe that this can happen? And then find more examples of that. And then, of course, a cord cutting ritual is always great, for just limiting beliefs and choosing, like, not just cutting the cord, but replacing that energy with something new. Now, okay, let's get into the aspects for this transit. And I have my notes up because I wanted to talk about the aspects. This is for Mercury and Capricorn specifically, so just remember that other things are going on in the sky at this time, and hopefully, I'll continue to do lives for every planet. That's my goal, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, so okay, like I said, it went into Capricorn on January 8th, which was yesterday. Now at like 4:30 a.m. So immediately it went into Capricorn and it started squaring the nodes. The North Node and the South Node are still in Aries and Libra. at 0 degrees. So they're literally this weekend, the nodes switch to Pisces and Virgo, but they're in the final, the nodes move backwards. So they move from 29 degrees to 0 degrees. So right now the nodes are at 0 degrees, um, Aries and Libra, and of course Capricorn squares those both. So it's in a T square with the nodes. And so this is tension between your comfort zone and your ascension. And that's kind of why I was like bringing up this fear. Like fear is also a comfort zone. What do you believe to be true? This is falling back in the old ways. This is kind of allowing what other people think to cloud your judgment. This is it's also kind of like your brain trying to keep you safe. Like your brain is doing its job. You know what I mean? Like the only way for you to get over the fear and to push the limits is to do things and let fear kind of sit on your shoulder a little bit, but just be like, listen, you don't run nothing over here. And I say this, you'll hear me say this often, like when you deal with these things that trigger that fear and that concern in you, it's okay. It's gonna happen. That's your brain. You have to rewire your brain so you can let it sit there, but you cannot let it ride because you may be experiencing that fear, but it's not you, right? So that's the square with the notes. That's kind of like that tension that you'll kind of feel the first few days. It's like immediately, it's like as soon as we step in, it's like, okay, so girl, boy, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because we're trying to get you we're trying to get you on this path to your ultimate success and your ascension, right? Okay, boom. It's chilling, blah 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 blah. On January 16th, I think it hits the moon a few times, so I left out moon transits. Um, yeah. Yeah, right now it's not really I think right now it's not really like, oh, go ahead and do it. I think it's just like where's the best way I can focus my energy? Let's reflect a little bit. Um, I was about to say something else. Oh, and don't forget that Mercury is still coming out of a square to Neptune. And so that in itself makes things super like foggy, you know? But yeah, so like right now is just trying to figure out how to balance your need. Might be your need for rest or your need to tap in with spirit. Kind of trying to figure out how to balance those things together. So yeah, so January 16th, um, as it talks to the moon, all that stuff. That's the next kind of major transit. A quincunx, quincunx. I don't even know. It's an inconjunct transit. It'll be in conjunct to Jupiter. They do not see each other, pretty much is what this transit means. It's not necessarily a major transit, but it is a major one to me because the inconjunct to me is like it's like being in a blind spot. So like I said, they don't see each other. So Mercury is still the ruler of Jupiter. Well, Mercury is still the ruler of Gemini, right? So the things that Mercury is doing um, is going to intertwine with what Gemini or Jupiter and Gemini is trying to do while it's retrograding, right? Even though they don't see each other right now, there's still some kind of influence here. And so when it comes to Jupiter, Jupiter is like, well, I want to explore and I want to question everything and I want to play and I want to be curious and I want to just try shit for the hell of it. And Mercury and Capricorn is like, what does this have to do with anything? What the fuck does this have to do with the goal, And I think the balance here with this aspect, once again, this is on January 16th, um, is what happens when you release the belief that everything has to be according to the plan? You know what I mean? Like if your spirit is saying, let's go play, let's go read a book, let's go for a walk, let's lean into this conversation a little bit and see what they're talking about. What if you allowed your spirit to do that a little bit? Maybe that's exactly what you needed in that moment for you to get re-inspired or for you to share what you're passionate about or what you're thinking about. Remember, Mercury and Capricorn is the Three of Pentacles. And so this is you collaborating with other people. How do you expect to collaborate with other people towards something successful or something that is um, long lasting if you don't talk about it? So I would even say share your findings. Like when you're playing and you're curious and you're just like trying to figure out little things that light you up. Like even just looking at myself and my journey right now, I'm trying kind of different things like on YouTube. I'm trying like different marketing tactics and I'm trying like different ways to show up online while still honoring my time and my need for solitude. And so that's kind of, even though this example or this transit hasn't happened yet, I'm kind of seeing things play out right now. It's kind of just like things come to fruition, and or not things coming to fruition, but like things kind of like preparing, right? It's culminating, I guess is the word that I'm thinking of. And so sharing that journey instead of me like being silent about it and trying to make sure everything is perfect and everything fits the plan. It's just like, well, I'm going to share the journey, and maybe me talking about it and me sharing and me, sharing the blockages and sharing the fear that I have and sharing my strengths and sharing what I'm curious about. Maybe that will help people. Maybe that will help me meet people or connect with people even deeper, because they may be like, girl, I didn't know that you could sing, or I didn't know that you were interested in this. I didn't know you like musicals. I didn't know you went to art school. I didn't know all of this stuff about you, you know? Um, and so anyway, when it comes to January 16th, this Mercury in conjunct Jupiter transit, I definitely think this is a part of um just staying playful and curious, because it's going to help you as Mercury continues to move through the sign. Okay. So that was January 16th. And so I should have brought a water in here. I usually have. Anyway, so the next transit is January 19th. And I like this one because this is when Mercury will sextile Venus and Saturn in Pisces. Venus is exalted and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? So it's like it's getting a little help from a benefic and a malefic, but the malefic that rules it, you know? So it's like I said, it's forming a sextile to its ruling planet, and it's forming a sextile to an exalted Venus. So what we're doing here, right, is where Saturn is kind of offering it some perspective on that rigidity that we're trying to break out of. Um, where it's like I said, Saturn is dissolving bounds. So it's like being rigid doesn't have to look this way. You define what the limitations are. You define what your bounds are. You define what you're rooting yourself in, you know? And that exalted Venus is like we're appreciating this art and this love and this beauty and relationships and connection and collaboration. Feel me? And so I think this transit has the potential, and once again, this is January 19th. I think this transit has the potential for like long-term connections where um once again we're working together for towards the same goal. I think around this time is when it'll start to click. Like we'll start to really see how the connections we've made, and it might be old, it might be new, but I think we'll really start to see around this time how the connections we made are guiding us towards what it is we're trying to do. Like, I think our own personal mission will become more clear, but I also think our relationships will play a part in that, and we'll finally really get to see that. And so I know for me, like I've been um I've been thinking about like how can I get invited to more panels and speaking events or whatever, right? And so just the same way like I'm flowing right now where I'm just showing up and trying to build more bodies of work and trying to allow people to see me. That in itself may create the invitations that I'm looking for and may open up doors for me. So I think everyone can do that, right? So I think like right now it's just like a time for you to think about, okay, what would really make me excited? Because even me just like thinking about, "Oh, I wish I could be on a panel and just talk and just, like, let my fucking stream of consciousness just flow out." Um, there was some doubt in my mind where it's like, "Well, you can't do that. Don't nobody care." But it's also like, "What do you mean? You have access to all of these tools that you can make happen, you know, and so do you. Like you have access to tools that you can utilize to get your point across or position yourself in the way that you want to be perceived and hopefully allow yourself those invitations to show up." And so that's June, oh God, June, January 19th. That's that Mercury sextile Venus and Saturn. The thing about sextiles is they are beneficial energy, but you have to put in work to make it happen. And so you putting in the work might just be you talking about your interests, you showing up more. I'm always thinking about the internet because this is where my platform is, but it may be like at your job, like just sharing different perspectives or putting together a storyboard of a new project or doing a pitch, you know what I mean? Um, like a pitch deck or whatever. Different ways to play with that, but just like putting yourself in position so that on this day, the relationships that you're looking for can show up for you because you've been putting in that work. So that's January 19th. Now, the day that is a doozy that I feel will be kind of intense is January 23rd. This is Mercury opposite Mars retrograde in Cancer, and it will be trining Uranus and Taurus. So on this day, the moon will also be in Scorpio. So it will be forming a sextile to the Scorpio moon, which will be opposing the Scorpio moon will be opposing Uranus and Taurus and trining Mars and Cancer. So there's like a grander aspect going on here, right? They're all talking to each other. And the moon and Mars will be in mutual reception. So the moon is in the sign of Mars and Mars is in the sign of the moon. And so what I'm trying to say, right? An overwhelm of emotion or just a lot of friction. Like, oh my gosh, hi Dom. Hey Dom. I thought you was asleep. But yeah, so just an overwhelm of emotion or some friction when it comes to like the shadows that you've been dealing with, even maybe how you've come up, like how you were raised. There might be family issues. So okay, so the way that I see January 23rd in my mind's eye, right, is just like, oh, my family, they were supposed to do this for me, and they didn't raise me in this way, and why didn't they put me on to this, and why didn't they set me up in this way, and why didn't they teach me this, and da 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 da, which can bring up a lot of frustration and anger. I think there is, because we're talking about like doubt and limitations, right? And so, and Cancer is a sign of family. The moon is in Scorpio, which is the moon is the planet of family, in particular the mother, like your maternal lineage. Cancer, the moon, um, your inner femininity. There's just like a lot of things on January 23rd that I just feel like is gonna fucking trigger you. And Uranus in itself is trigger city, okay? But I do think there is a this needs to be like directed into something. It needs to be transmuted. So all of those emotions when they come up, it's like, okay, you may give some grace to your family, maybe write it in a journal, maybe curse them out on in your video, like in your photo album, in your notes app, in your voice notes. Leave it there and then try to figure out where to place that energy. But um and just like remember to offer compassion to your family. Like they only taught you what they knew, and this is your opportunity to kind of switch timelines. Like you recognize what it was that was holding you back. I think this is like an explosion of like, I get it. This is why I am the way that I am. This is what I believe. This is where those limitations came from. This is what was ingrained in me. And that in itself can make you want to be like, girl, you're a horrible mother. I hate you, mom. That's what it's giving. But it's just like, it's not that. It's just you being able to recognize, okay, this is what I need to focus on. This is what I need to hone in on. And then boom, you can do another cord cutting, like cord cutting with cord cutting this limitation that has been imposed from your family. I have Pluto in my fourth house too. Scorpio rules my fourth house in Placidus, but in whole sign is Sagittarius. But my Pluto's in Sagittarius. But yeah, the my IC is in Scorpio, so it's similar. There's like a lot of generational. I hate saying generational curses, but there is like these generational wounds that we have to tap into and kind of heal from when we have Pluto in the fourth house. But yeah, so that's what January 23rd is given. It's given I'm triggered to the depths of hell. Lots of deep rooted emotion, lots of trauma picked up from the family, lots of not liking how you were handled. It's like I said, it's okay to express this, but try to transmute it into something that makes you feel powerful, because I feel like with Uranus in the mix, it is going to remind you like what your value system actually is. And I think this is a good time, like I said, for you to root yourself in a new reality. because during this time, Mercury will be like in its last final stages of Mercury and Capricorn. So it's kind of like trying to figure out how to root itself. Like, what am I now? What's now my foundation? Now that I have questioned everything and I've tried to balance everything and I've collaborated with people and, I've discussed my new ideas and I found out my new interests and I allowed myself to play. What am I now rooting what belief am I now rooting myself in? Right. And yeah. So I feel like that's a good day to do so once the vibe settles and them demons come up and they stare you in the face. It's like, yeah, well, hey demon, here's what I'm choosing to believe, and you cannot hold me back no more. I fucking banish you out of my life. And then next time Scorpio moon comes around, y'all can talk to the next demons. Anyway, rework the timeline pretty much. Okay. Then a few days later, we have Mercury sextile Neptune. And I personally think Mercury sextile Neptune is going to be like this beautiful spiritual aha moment. Like I said, sextiles are supportive energy. If you've been putting in the work to get that support, right? So I know Neptune is associated with like delusion and fantasy, but this transit to me, this is January 26th. This transit to me feels more like, God, I hear you. I understand now. Like I get what all of the turbulent thoughts and emotions were about. It's it's like the culmination of lessons. They are sextiling at 29 degrees, I believe, either 28 or 29 degrees. Regardless, that is the final degree of Capricorn. Um, the final 2 degrees of Capricorn, right? Or the final 2 degrees of Pisces. Like the last couple signs of Pisces, um, am I not explaining it so you can understand it? The last final degrees of Pisces and the last final degrees of any sign are like the culmination points where um, things kind of just start to click for you, and it's kind of just like a level of mastery. Okay, good, 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 good. Yeah, no, I think getting on live more is gonna help because I can kind of just talk through how my brain visualizes the transits, instead of just saying it. But yeah, I think it'll be like you'll get a vision. Like Neptune is visions. It's not always like delusion. Neptune is visions. And so I feel like on January 26th, when Mercury sextiles Neptune at the final degree, it's just like you'll get this vision of like, I understand. I know my mission. I know my purpose. I am rooted in this new reality and it makes sense to me now. And I can see it and I can imagine myself in this land of the free and the home of the brave. And I'm now ready for Mercury to move on into Aquarius and allow me to focus on how I can use my rituals and routines to help the collective. And then this is literally the last day of Mercury in Capricorn. And then the next day on January 27th, Mercury moves into Aquarius. And so I'll do another one on that where we're moving through the magician in the star, the magician card in the realm of the star card, right? But right now, we are navigating, the magician is navigating the devil's realm. What are the limits? What are we bounding ourselves to? What's your fears? What's your limiting beliefs? That's where we are right now. We are trying to master this Three of Pentacles, this collaborative efforts. But yeah, yes. I hope that made sense. And this wasn't too long either. It was only 35 minutes. It was just up. Like I was trying to batch content. And I was like, well, let me just hop on live because if I pull out my phone, I use my phone to record. So I just saw your text, Dom. If I knew if I pulled out my phone to record, it would be too much. Like I would be too focused on making it perfect and editing everything, and um, I would be too focused on that. So I was like, let me just hop my ass on live, and if people are up, they're up, and if not, you know, they'll just see it when I wake up or when they wake up. But yeah, do y'all have any questions? Because I'm about to hop off here and try to get some more content. I have a fixed candle video that I'm recording. Um, I have a glamour magic video that I'm recording, but the glamour magic one, I'm taking my time on because I want to talk about glamour magic more from like a psychological thing. Like it's not just glamour and beauty. It's like how can I penetrate the minds of my culprit, you know? So I really want to talk about that in a way that makes sense and that like really clicks for you guys so that it's not just like physical, but it really is like elevation. But yeah, let me know what other videos you guys want because I want to do some more lives. I want to do some magic. I want to do like more vlogs. I just want to, like I said, we just playing. Remember, I said Mercury and Jupiter don't see each other right now. That's where I'm at with it, where it's just like Jupiter wants me to play, it wants me to tease different areas of my life, and it's in my 10th house. So it's like it wants you to tease different interests that you have and be curious and explore. We gonna keep doing that. I love that you said Galinda 101 because you know that I am obsessed with Wicked right now. I literally am having dreams about Wicked at this point. Okay. Literally. I think Galinda is a really good example of glamour magic actually because it's like she don't have no real magic, you know? Her glamour is the fact that she's popular. Her magic is the fact that she's popular, which is glamour magic. It gets her in rooms and she allows her likability is how she's able to stay in those rooms. But we're going to talk about it. Prayer and intention video. Oh, can you elaborate on that? Because I do have the how to write powerful prayers and um petitions. Oh my gosh, my mind just drew a blank. But I have that video. But is there like what do you mean? Like what's the other video you want to see when it comes to like prayer and intention? Because yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I also want to do one on I know I did a live in the group on enchanting your herbs, but I think I need to do one for YouTube. But yes, Dom, you need to watch Wicked because it's amazing. Just excuse me, as someone who has always felt rejected, um, and then like finally, I literally I identify with Elphaba so much because I've been through these situations where I join these organizations or these groups or these communities and I think they're taking me in and I think they're like embracing me and this gift or this talent that everybody called weird and then I do something that is against them or they don't like or goes against the structure or the what's the word I'm looking for? It just goes against how they're like seeing how they like to be perceived, and then they position me as like some kind of Satan or like some kind of witch or like evil, and I've just dealt with that a lot. And so when I saw Wicked, I was like, oh my gosh, I completely identify. Um, yeah, I've been obsessed with Cynthia. I've been watching all of her interviews. She's a Capricorn too. Her birthday was yesterday. And I just love how it's like people call her arrogant, but I just love how she knows that she's the shit. Like and I think that is a Capricorn trait, right? Where it's like, no, I'm not arrogant. I care about my perception. I have mastered my craft and you're going to respect the fact that I've mastered my craft. She was so perfect. I literally the way she said something has change. I can't even do it within me. I can't do it. I said, oh, run it back, run it back, run it back. I'm just obsessed. I love her so much. Her voice is beautiful. I've seen her in things before, like I've seen her here and there, but I never paid as much attention to her when it comes to except for, like, in Wicked, and now I'm just like, I liked Ariana Grande when I saw Wicked, I saw the Broadway musical, like, growing up, but it wasn't something that I was, like, obsessed with, you know what I mean? And I'm also not obsessed with, like, Ariana Grande. Like, I like her, but it just wasn't something they I didn't watch Wicked for the people, you know what I mean? I just watched it like, "Oh, let me just put this on because I like musicals." And when I watched it, I was like, "They both did such an amazing job." Like, I could cry. Amazing. I bought the vinyl. It's on my shelf. I bought the vinyl, I bought the book. Imma buy the DVD when it comes out because 'cause I'm not buying that shit on Amazon Prime. I'm sorry, I can't. I almost bit the bullet though earlier because the site that I used to watch it was not working. So I almost bit the bullet earlier and bought it, but Imma wait. I think it comes out in February, so Imma wait to buy it. Can't wait for the glamour video. Can you do a cleansing basics video, like how to cleanse your home and self? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's super easy. I'll add that to the list. I can do that shit tonight. I'm trying to bust out as many videos as I can tonight so I can just post them throughout the month because my goal is to at least post one video a week, something a week. You know what I mean? I need to record a full moon in Cancer video too because that's next Monday. Oh my god, I can't believe it's Thursday already. But yeah, that's next Monday. So I need to record that and I might do like actual readings. I just want to post something every week. Or just when it comes to mind, because like I'll be saying how social media feels like a bunch of people fighting for ones on the ground. Like that's how it's feeling. Like I'm kind of over Facebook. I'm kind of over Instagram. I'm gonna still post there, but I don't want it to be that. Like I would rather just talk to my people and not have to deal with like the entire fucking internet commenting and like having opinions. I know I'm gonna get it on here, but it's a lot easier to filter on here. And I'm also gonna bring the Discord back, but I have to do it in a way that does not now at this point I'm just rambling, but I'm gonna bring the Discord back, but I'm gonna do it in a way that doesn't drain me for lack of a better term. So I really want it to be more of like a coven, where it's like, well, like kind of how I was doing in the group where we would just do like classes, every, every couple months or every month or whatever. I want it to be like that, but just like in a tighter knit space. Social media is very overwhelming. Yeah, especially for someone whose platform is continuing to grow. And I can say one thing, and now everybody's telling me about their lives, and it's like, wow, I understand nuance, and I understand that there are exceptions, and I'm not talking about you. I don't know you guys, like I love you guys, but I don't know you guys, so you don't have to defend your life to me. You know what I mean? It's just it's a lot sometimes, but I just like YouTube. It just feels quieter, and then I feel like I can disconnect easier from YouTube because I can just shut the fucking camera off and go about my business. But yeah, it's 4 AM now. I am gonna end this live. I'm gonna keep it up on my channel. I'm gonna try to add chapters just in case you guys want to go back and be like, what did she say about this upcoming transit? It's also on my blog, and on my page, my Instagram, I think. I did screenshot some stuff to post on there, trying to repurpose, work smarter, not harder. So I'll do that. And we will chat soon. And I love you guys. Thank you for being up with me at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And I'll make the video suggestions that y'all made.